Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So if you're new here, hi, hello, my name is Paula, and welcome, beautiful light soul, to the light show, like I like to say, or sometimes the dark show, because life sometimes be beating you up a little bit too much. But you know what? It's 2025. Technically, it's not a new year, but we're gonna roll with it. We're gonna roll with it. That'll be another video separately. One of the things that society needs right now the most is actually a lot of raw content, but tough conversations that I feel like we're literally not having enough. So today I want to bring to you the topic that everyone wants to know about, which is love. Love, relationships, especially romance when you are dating as a spiritual person. And what I mean by that, by the way, before you cue the comments of all the triggered people, save it. You already know. We've talked about this. No. I wanted to talk about dating. Everyone's a spiritual being, obviously. Everybody has spiritual abilities. And there are some of us who have committed to walking this journey very, very disciplined, and we take it seriously and we want to do this and we want to self-evolve. We are all spiritual beings, obviously having a human experience. We know this. We talked about this before. This channel is all inclusive. I feel like I always have to say that because there's new people watching me and there's also old people watching me. So dating in this world, when you consider yourself a very mindful person, a person that's on a spiritual path, you begin to detach from a lot of old constructs. And I was literally reflecting on this for the past week, and even just extensively today. This video got inspired by having a conversation with one of my friends. And I think that sometimes the reason why it's so hard dating in the spiritual community or just in the mindfulness and the wellness is because you inherently realize that as you ascend consciously, like you start growing, you start realizing your shadow aspects, your traumas, and you start healing these things, you realize that not everyone's on this path. And I know that that's going to trigger a lot of people, but that is the truth. Some people come into your life to show you what unhealed looks like and what it would look like and be like if you didn't take the time to do the work. And that's okay. Like, it's free will. I really, really think that there is no such thing as right or wrong. It's just alignment versus misalignment. And for me, in my personal experience, which is going to be a huge part of this video, and again, you can take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If it applies, amazing. If it doesn't, amazing, doesn't matter. So, on my spiritual journey, on my dating journey, on my love journey, it has been tough. And if you guys have been following me for a while, you know that I have not had a serious monogamous relationship ever since my last one, which was literally like almost 3 years ago now. And that relationship itself was very, very chaotic. It taught me so much. I am so grateful for it. But I think I went through a period where I was having a lot of anger. I was having hostility. I was confused. I was in this victim mentality. I felt lost. And if you followed me from that, you know that it was really traumatic and very much an experience that I still feel like I had to go through so that I could be here today doing this. And it's a huge part of what I share online with people and what I talk about. And again, I'm convinced that we have to go through these phases where we do date what we don't want in order to get to what we do want. And these opportunities and these experiences ultimately shape us into becoming the best version of ourselves when we do date the right person, right? Obviously. So I think for me, when I was sitting down this morning, I was realizing that I was like, dang it. I've gone through a lot. Like, I've learned so much in just relationships in general, because that's where we learn the most, but specifically in romance. Up to this year, I was not hitting the nail on the head. I was really struggling, and I would find myself in situationships, or I would find myself like always leading back to this lesson of self-love and needing to choose myself. Now, if you're watching this video, I feel like you're really going to resonate with this. And I feel like a lot of us on our spiritual journey on this healing journey, whatever you want to consider it, because I feel like it's all labels at this time and it's highly commercialized. But you're in this self-development journey, right? You're essentially taking the best parts and the lessons and you're incorporating them. You're taking the lessons and you are integrating them. And I think that is part of what we came here on earth to do. So remember, we're in this world, but not of it. In this world, but not of it. I always say that because Spirit told me that and it stuck with me. And I feel like relationships for me were really difficult to navigate. And I felt like so defeated. And I felt like I could never find the love that I desire. Each time I had an experience with a romantic encounter, which wasn't much, but it was enough to create some sort of effect and some sort of realization and growth, it allowed me to get one step closer to what I inherently wanted and was worthy of, and also what I didn't want at all in my life. So I feel like these things were super necessary in order for me to grow and become the best version of myself so that I can then attract the right person for me. If you're on this journey, and it makes me emotional because I know that a lot of people have gone through this, and I myself have gone through this, is when you're so connected to yourself, to your spirit, to your soul, to the Most High, you feel a lot and things affect you a lot, and you have a genuine kind soul. So you're expecting, keyword, expecting, you're expecting people to reciprocate. And mind you, the people I've had encounters with, romantic encounters with, they were not bad people. Some of them might actually be watching this. So, hi. Thank you for the lessons. But they were not bad people. They were just not my people. They were there for a short while, not a long while. But I'm going to say this, each lesson taught me more and more about me. As much as I didn't want to see it, and as much as I didn't want to accept it, it taught me so much about me, myself, and how I was showing up, what my codependencies tendencies were, what my hyper independence tendencies were, where I was still not loving myself, where I was not being authentic. And again, the last year has been about me being authentic. So this morning when I was journaling and I was like self-reflecting, I realized, I said, authenticity is what brings true love to you. So if you're watching this video, right, and I don't think there's such thing as coincidences. If you're watching this video, you're meant to be here and you're meant to watch this and you're meant to listen to this and really take what resonates. You're probably going through a phase in your life where maybe you just let go of a relationship because it wasn't in alignment with you. And what I mean by alignment is I realized the more I healed, and what I say by healed, because I'm trying to be extra mindful of the words I speak, integrating the aspects of myself that I deem as unworthy, that I shy away from, that I feel embarrassed of, that makes me feel unworthy of love or abundance or joy, of bliss, of like enjoyment. That's what I mean by healed. And also taking accountability in areas where I can improve, because as much as I wanted to blame and point fingers to people in my past, there were also aspects of me that I needed to take responsibility in because I wasn't showing up as the best version of myself. And one thing I noticed this morning as I'm sort of self-reflecting and like writing is I realized that like I've always called forth someone who's vulnerable and like all in love, and that's deep. But then I realized in a lot of scenarios where I wasn't being deep and I wasn't being authentic out of fear. I wasn't doing it on purpose, of course, but I was fearful that if I showed up as 100% as myself, or if I made a mistake or all these things, like I wasn't worthy of love. So I realized, I'm like, wow, I'm calling forth authenticity, someone who's full of integrity, committed, and like vulnerable. But in some areas, I am not showing up as that. And that's where I had to take co-creative accountability. Now, this video is not going to be if you have struggled with mistreatment. I'm going to be mindful of what I say because I don't want this video to be taken down. Mistreatment, you get what I'm saying? Like that kind of mistreatment. That's not what I'm referring to. What I'm referring to is when we've all had that kind of toxic love at some point where we feel like we're chasing someone, or we're constantly hurt, or we feel like we have to beg. And these situations in love, these whole dynamics in love, were ultimately just unhealthy, but they were always leading me to needing to choose myself over the person and over the relationship. So inherently, it made me start believing that I wasn't worthy of love, that there was something wrong with me. And I kept repeating this pattern where I was dragging these preconceived notions and these things that were just not inherently helping me and being constructive. Therefore, I still needed to continue to run through the lesson and lesson and lesson. And again, if you guys have followed me over the past year, you know that I took a year of traveling. I took a year for myself, literally spent time on my own, didn't really date, have been recovering from that long relationship that I had 3 years ago. And I think it's healthy too. I think that in order for us to attract love, there is a certain level of awareness and availability and also healed that we do have to be. And I'm not saying you have to be perfect. I'm not saying that you have to have all your ducks in a row. I know that there's some people that say that, but listen, at some point I had all my ducks in a row and I was still not meeting the right person. So it's neither here or there. I think it just depends on your journey. It depends on your lessons. It depends on your karmic contract. It depends what you genuinely believe of yourself and what you accept for yourself. And I think for me, it was a constant lesson of needing to choose myself because I didn't choose myself. So I was attracting people that also were too busy for me, or not there for me, or maybe there enough, but not enough, almost not enough. So it hit that wound constantly of like feeling like I wasn't enough, and like love was complicated, and I couldn't be myself. And now, mind you, I will say, I do think sometimes it's a little complicated in this day and age to date and to be single, and also, though, to be married, because there's so much literal trash that they give us and that they feed us all the time, 24/7, that you have to be very calm, very centered, very connected to be able to discern. And this is not just with love. We've talked about this before many times in like different occasions, but it mainly shows up in love and relationships. However, let this be a very healing video to tell you the type of love that you want, the type of love that you deserve, that you're longing for, that you're yearning for, does exist because of the mere fact that you exist. So if the universe is planting this inherent desire to experience love with another, yes, I'm going to be cliche for a second and say that you do need to find it within yourself first. What do I mean by this? You have to learn how to be alone, to sit with yourself, to get to know yourself, to date yourself, to experience yourself, to please yourself, to have joy with yourself first. Have your own hobbies, have things that you enjoy. You don't have to be always producing and always doing, but it's important for you to have a connection within yourself, your inner emotions, your innermost thoughts, before you decide to share and open that gateway to someone else. So the love really does come here, and then you do experience it outwardly. And with that being said, if you have this desire to experience love with another, the desire was placed within you because you have the ability to have it and have it be met. Now, there is no such thing really as time, but there is what we call divine cosmic timing. Some people like to call it God's timing, the Most High, the universe, whatever it is that you resonate with. there is a certain level of timing at play because sometimes we get so trapped in our egoic mind and we're like, oh, I just want love. Like, why is it not getting here? Guilty, guilty, guilty. I was there too. Trust me, I was there too. Your girl's not getting any younger. I'm going to be 29 this year. So I get it. And at the same time, I feel like our egos get the best of us a lot of the times, and we think it's all about us. Maybe our partner, our divine person, is also going through a process and they might not be ready just yet. So, and this brings me to like the red string theory and like divine timing and fate and all these things. Like, I used to, don't get it twisted. Like, I believe in these things now, but I didn't always believe in like, oh, that was fate. Oh, that was destined. That came over time by seeing the Most High's creation and like being so in awe and like realizing things within myself. So, this is why I'm a firm believer. You have to know yourself before you can see these little glimpses of life everywhere, right? So, yes, the dating pool does slim a lot, especially when you become a very mindful and aware individual. Why? Because you no longer resonate to the same level that you used to before. And what I mean by this is you no longer resonate for mediocrity. Like breadcrumbs is no longer, we're not celebrating people for breadcrumbing. When you know your self worth, you're super quick to walk away because you're aware of your own traumas, triggers, and shadow aspects. So you're able to see that from a mile away. So I've always said this, and I've said this to clients, I've said this in sessions, I've said this to friends, and I've even said this to myself, okay? If you want commitment, this is just an example, and you start meeting someone and they're not offering you commitment and they're telling you from the beginning, you need to do yourself a service, which is where true, genuine self love comes in, and walk away. This is not an opportunity for you to heal or to fix, because I know a lot of people that are watching these videos, when you're a lover, your inherent desire is to heal and rescue others. But your biggest lesson this lifetime is understanding that you're here for yourself. No one's going to save anybody. No one's going to save you. You're not going to save anyone. This does not mean, because I know there's always somebody that takes this out of context. This does not mean you don't help people, but you have to put your own oxygen mask first before you go diving into the deep end. And you also have to understand who wants their oxygen mask on and who doesn't. Who doesn't, and what you're wasting time on. So it's very important. And I feel like, I know for me, because I had inner child wounds, like very, very deep and rooted, someone not being able to give me 100% what I knew I deserved and wanted, I took it as a challenge to prove myself. I like, oh, I'm going to prove to myself, I'm going to prove to this person, I'm going to prove to this person why they should love me and why I'm a great candidate and why I'm amazing and why I should be their girlfriend and blah, 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 blah. And the more I evolved with time, with those like hardships, eso golpe que me di, like we say in Spanish, los golpes que me di, I realized, I was like, wait, I should never have to beg someone to love me or convince them or have to play this game, because at the end of the day, the real love that we desire, whoever your counterpart is, and I know this is going to trigger someone, but I really don't care, okay? There is a divine counterpart for everyone on this planet. However, it's free will. And what I mean by divine counterpart, I don't mean the perfect relationship, because there is no such thing as perfection. Everything just is as it is, and it's perfect as a whole. The definition of perfection is obviously skewed, but you get what I'm saying. So I digress with that. I do believe that we all chose a partner. Doesn't matter if you're male, female, whatever you categorize yourself in, you deserve love. Everybody deserves love, wherever you want to find it. So there is a person for you. Now it's completely up to you. And also, there could be multiple people that are compatible with you. But I do believe that there is one person that is inherently the most compatible, which is where you chose to make that conscious contract in. And that's a lot of what I work with and what I see a lot of people do and what they're trying to find, myself included. But what we fail to realize is that our relationships are a reflection of how strong we are within ourselves. I didn't start building strong friendships and a strong romantic love life until I really had that romance within myself and that commitment within myself, which is what I was lacking in previous encounters. I also had to make very difficult decisions and even sacrifice certain things out of commitment to my own self love and saying, I've been here before and I know better. For me to repeat this lesson, I'd be a masochist because by this point I know and I feel and I'm aware. And I'm not saying that these things were easy, you guys. Like, it was not easy. None of these things were easy. It was not easy leaving that relationship 3 years ago. There was definitely a lot of karma there, a lot of love, also a lot of mixed emotions, a lot of anger, a lot of resentment. But I am so happy I did. I'm so happy I did because I think that's truly when my self love journey began. And we talk about this all the time on TikTok, on Instagram, and it's all fun and games. But like, the reason why I'm making this video is because self-love is not getting your nails done and getting pampered and providing for yourself. And those are amazing. I love that. Kudos to you for doing that. But the real self-love moments are the moments where you know that something's not good for you. And you also have to make this difficult decision of saying, this is no longer in alignment, which means it's not improving my life, which means it's not allowing me to progress. Therefore, I'm going to release this with love. And I'm going to trust that as I do this, I'm making space for what's really for me. And I'm not going to sit here and spiritually bypass you and say that it's not difficult. You guys, it's difficult. It's difficult because so long as we're in the flesh, we still have ego. We still have desire. There's still a certain level of lust and physicality and all these things that even though I work on this, I still struggle with certain things. And that's part of life. Like it's so all intertangled and intertwined. It's like we're healed while simultaneously healing. It's a paradox all the time. And it's the same thing with love. And it's like you're healed, you're worthy of love already as you are. You don't need to prove or convince someone or chase someone or tell them, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, you just need to be. And at the same time, you need to readjust and also integrate certain areas of yourself, your limited thoughts, maybe showing up better, maybe handling your anger, maybe the way you speak, the way you express yourself. Like, it's beautiful because even though this journey is about you, every relationship teaches you something more and more and more about yourself. And it teaches you where to get stronger, where to get wiser. Like, I guarantee now you can love more. Even if in this moment you don't believe it, because trust me, I got to a point and maybe I needed to get to this point, you guys, where I was fully convinced and I was surrendered. Maybe I'm not meant to have romantic partnership in this lifetime. But I also knew that that wasn't true. I also knew that those were fears because every time I'd close my eyes and I'd connect with Source, I connect with Hashem, I connect with God, Spirit, whatever you resonate with, my higher self, it would always tell me your person's there. It's already there. But it's these beliefs that you have to make peace with. And okay, where do these beliefs come from? Oh, the past, the people, the not so good times, right? The tough times, all of these things, that's where it comes from. Maybe it comes from previous lifetimes, who knows, right? But I had to sit with it and I think make peace with those inner demons and those inner thoughts and not slay them, but just make peace with it. Make peace with it. And I think that allowed me to kind of shift my perspective from a place of needing to wanting. So now I wasn't coming from a place of lack, I was coming from a place of empowerment, right? It's kind of like Cher once said, she's like, dessert's awesome, but it's not necessary. So that's the same thing with a romantic relationship. It's like it's not necessary. This is why I say it's a choice, but it's a beautiful thing, and it's a thing that me in this human form in this lifetime wants to experience. However, I was so committed to myself and knowing what like the type of love that I wanted, and the type of love and the type of person, the type of man that I wanted next to me was very eerily specific. Eerily specific. And we can talk about it in some other video, right? Like how to manifest that and how I wrote that and how I manifested that. But it's like I was very specific about it and I was not compromising. And I think that's also another thing is if you know what you want, it's not compromising on it. Mind you, I'm not also saying be super picky and be judgmental. I am saying, for example, if you want commitment, then maybe don't date people that are telling you right off the bat that they can't commit and they're not looking for a relationship. This isn't, you want a partner, not a project. You are already working on yourself enough. You already have enough on your plate. There's soul purpose, your career, your hobbies, maybe you're working on your fitness. There's already a lot of things that you're working on. So you don't want to have someone next to you that also doesn't know what they want and you feel like you have to raise them and heal them and do these things. And again, I'm not saying that a partnership is not a level of collaboration and union and also helping each other grow. Of course. I've seen this with my parents. I've seen this with my aunt and uncle, my grandparents. I've seen this with my boyfriend's family. So like it does exist. But this is why you don't settle. I don't believe in that word and settling down or like settling. Like what? No, let's remove that from our vocabulary. Like we're not settling. We're patiently waiting on our journey. We're working on ourselves and we are trusting that when that person comes and you're holding that vision, but you're not attached to when it needs to come, how it needs to come, who it needs to be, because let me tell you something, more often than not, it'll come when you least expect it and the person you least expect. So I think the reason why this video is so important is because if you're losing hope in love, I want you to not lose hope in love. I genuinely, and take this as a channel message if you need to, do not lose hope in love. The person that you desire is out there. It's already within you. And it's also realizing that love is a relationship, because I feel like people don't really understand that, which means it's easy, but it also, to have a good relationship, you have to be willing to put the work. You have to be able to discern, okay, these are problems that we can solve and that we can meet each other halfway when we can collaborate, because it's a collaboration. It's two independent people coming together to create an even bigger world. So it's a collaboration and also discerning, okay, wait a second, this relationship is actually not taking me anywhere and it's not being constructive and it's not amplifying my life. It's actually draining me. So you have to reassess because everyone's situation is different. You have to observe also energy and what someone brings to the table and what you desire. Like maybe for some people watching this, maybe you don't know what you desire yet. Maybe you think you do. But one of the biggest things that I can recommend that I have done and I continue to do is sitting down and also like reassessing what are your 4 pillars. At least start with 4. Like, is it commitment? Is it communication? Is it consistency? Is it love? Like all of these things you have to sit down and get clear on, because the more you get clear on that, not only can you start providing that and start saying, okay, well, if I want consistency, then I have to be consistent in my life. So where am I not being consistent? Okay, I'm not working out as much as I want to. I'm not like doing the things that I love, or maybe I'm not blah, blah, blah. So you start reassessing, and it's not that something's wrong with you, right? But this is how you improve. Like life is all about self-improvement. And then you commit to that. You commit to that vision. So if whether you like men, women, whatever, When you go into the dating world, you go, okay, this is important for me. Commitment's important for me. Marriage is important for me. Kids are important for me. Whatever you resonate with. And if you're meeting someone, you're open-minded, your heart's open, you're connected, you trust your intuition, because I think by this point, if we made it to this video, we've all have been working on trusting ourselves and our commitment to our intuition. And you say, okay, let me enjoy the moment. Let me enjoy this person. And let's also get to know each other and see if we are compatible, and also see if we're on the same level, on the same page. I'm not going to date someone and invest time if they don't want to get married, or I'm not going to date someone and waste time if they don't want to have kids. Why? Because I'm at this age and that's eventually what I want. I'm flexible, but that's also a huge thing for me. And I think it's important. And it's not just like, I do this all the time with like work. I do it with my soul purpose. Like I do this with friendships too. It's good to have these check-ins and these awareness, and it's healthy. And another thing that I want to say to top it all off is, I don't know who needs to hear this, but I'm sure somebody needs to hear this. If you want to experience love, true, genuine love, because it does exist, because you are proof that it does exist, the way that you love, the deep level, the romance, all of that, love means vulnerability. And vulnerability means being unique, being authentic. You have to risk it. You can't find your true love by just staying in. And again, I'm not saying you have to be on dating apps. I'm not saying you have to be desperate. I am saying sometimes the best thing you can do is just open yourself up. You can meet people anywhere. It's the energy. If you walk around with this energy of don't approach me, then you're not. Opportunities, people, places, things are not going to approach you. So it's all about allowing yourself to open and letting go of the restriction, and also letting go of the fear of being seen. Like, you can practice this not just with love, but with friends, with social media, with clients, with work. Remember that you are you, and that's your superpower. So don't try, because I see this all the time. People want to change themselves because, oh, it's what so and so finds attractive. No. What do you find attractive? Because if that's the man, if that's the woman of your dreams, then they're going to love you for who you are, but that entails vulnerability. And I know that a lot of us don't like that. I myself didn't like that at first. I wanted to be seen as perfect. I wanted to have it all figured out. I didn't want to bring problems to the table. But the reality is that's not real. And that's not love. Love is, I see you. I see your darkness. I see your shortcomings, and I still love you for who you are. That's what real love is in all senses of the word. And you don't abandon ship. You don't abandon yourself when you're going through moments where you mess up, where you make mistakes, because nobody's perfect, right? Nobody's perfect. So it takes accountability, and it takes consistency and patience and compassion. I do believe that love is a very high vibration. It is the most magical vibration on this planet, and is the root of everything. Love. At your core essence, love. So if you're ever doubting if you're worthy of love, you are, because you came from love. So you can't not receive something that you already are. You are love in the flesh and experiencing itself. So when you have these dark thoughts and these things, it's not always that there's something wrong with you. Sometimes you are the blessing that comes into someone's life to show them what love is, unconditional love, right? Sometimes we are the ones that bring the light when other people are in shadows. Now, that doesn't mean we stick around. Unconditional love does not mean you stick around through abuse and other things. It does not mean that. It means you can love someone and you can have boundaries and love them from a distance. And that's the thing. And that's the thing about this, is you have to be willing to let go of your past, of the pain, if you want to experience that true kind of love. Closing yourself up is not going to protect you from hurt. It just isn't. And take it from someone who did that. I closed myself up. I was like, oh, whatever. I don't care. And I still got hurt. Actually, I feel like I got way more hurt doing that than if I would have just leaned into the experience and just allowed the emotions to flow and then let them go and learn. So I know that sometimes it can be difficult because there's a lot out there. Trust me, there's a lot. And there's a lot of unhealed people, and sometimes unhealed people come into our lives to show us where we still need love and nurturing and growth, but also to teach us what we would look like and be like if we didn't take accountability, right? So, with that being said, don't lose hope. Don't lose hope in love. If you're watching this video, take this as a confirmation from your guides, from your spirit team, your ancestors, divinity, that love is for you. You just have to be open to grab it. And also, the last thing I will say, do not settle, okay? Do not settle. If certain things are very important to you, stick to that. Stick to that. You can still be kind and be assertive, but stick to what is true to you and what you genuinely feel in your heart you deserve. And if you're not getting that and you feel like you get that more when you're alone, then continue on your journey. Remember, you're looking for an equal, and you want someone that's going to add to your life, not take away, and someone that's going to respect you and make it easy for you to feel the love that you already have. Like, make it easy, make life easy, bring you peace and ease. Is it always going to be like that? No, obviously. Life is very much like this all the time. But learn to navigate this with good people right next to you that are very supportive, honest, full of integrity, and that see the world in a similar perspective as you. Not always 100%, but a similar perspective as you. So that's pretty much it for today's video, you guys. I know it's been a long one, but I know it's a very important one. So if you stuck around, thank you guys so much for being here. Also, thank you so much for supporting me and my content. I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys for allowing me to reach 1,000 subscribers. It really does help me, and it helps me continue to make content like this. I'm so excited to be back on YouTube and to create channel messages and talk about topics like this. As usual, if you have any recommendations or any topics that you would like for me to talk about, feel free to drop them down below. And trust me, I got a list already, but I'm looking for more because we want to pump out content. So if you haven't done so already, also subscribe, like this video, share it with someone who might need to hear this at this time, because don't lose hope, okay? Don't lose hope. Nobody lose hope. And remember that the love that you desire exists because you are living proof that it does exist. So follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok, follow me on here, and I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.